Hello, Chevra, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to another installment in this series, Sefer Jonah, verse by verse. This week's verse is Jonah, chapter 1, verse 13. Again, for this year, this series is a thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. I truly appreciate your support. Perhaps next year I will make this available generally, but for this year, this is an exclusive. Okay, let's get going. Jonah 1, verse 13. Okay, as we have been doing, let's go ahead and read through the verse a couple times, just to hear the flow of the Hebrew. Again, this first verse is as presented in your Tanakh. It has all of the cancellation marks that you may or may not be familiar with. So I presented here a cleaned up version, more of a textbook version with just the nukudot, with just the vowel markings. Okay, it says, "V'yachteru ha'anashim lahashiv el hayabasha, v'lo yecholu ki hayam holech v'so'er aleihim." Okay, one more time. V'yachteru ha'anashim lahashiv el hayabasha, v'lo yecholu ki hayam holech v'so'er aleihim. Okay, let's look at the first little chunk. V'yachteru ha'anashim. Okay, so the verb yachteru, it is in the pa'al imperfect. It is, in modern Hebrew, it means to paddle. In biblical Hebrew, it seems to mean to chop or to dig or to do something in a chopping pattern, a chopping style, a digging style, which certainly paddling could be reckoned to be similar to that. I would send you over, compare this verse, the usage in this verse, to the usage in Amos 9:2. Amos 9:2, we see a different usage of the same verb. Also, I would, if you want to, go watch the companion video to this video in the Sefer Jonah verse by verse select commentaries, and see the comments of the Metzudat Tzion over there. He addresses this issue. Okay, so this is in the Pa'al imperfect. Let's go ahead and go through. Echtor, I will. Tachtor, you will. Tachtori, you feminine, singular. Yachtor, he will. Tachtor, she will. Nachtor, we will. Tachtoru, you, plural masculine. Tachtorna, you, plural feminine. Yachteru, they, masculine. Tachtorna, Tachtorna, they, feminine. Okay, and of course this is the one that is used in this verse. So we're going to just conveniently translate it as paddle. So they will paddle. Okay, and of course that can be found, this pattern can be found in chapter 12 of the primer. And of course this is a vav v'hipuk situation. So again, a vav plus an imperfect will be translated as a perfect. So v'yachteru, and they paddled. Okay, chapter 17, that information about the vav v'hipuk, the flipping vav, can be found in chapter 17 of the primer. And of course the subject of the verb is ha'anashim, the men, taken all together. V'yachteru ha'anashim, and the men paddled, and they paddled, and the men paddled. Okay, the next little chunk. V'yachteru ha'anashim, and the men paddled. Lahashiv el hayabasha. Lahashiv el hayabasha. Okay, so this note that we have the hay here in the lamed hay. That is a tip-off that we're dealing with a hifil, and it is in an infinitive form. To return. Okay, so the root here is shin vav bet. Lahashiv, to return. Really, hifil has a in tone means to cause to happen. So the hashiv means to cause to return. To cause to return. Okay, so that is the inflection of the verb here. Cause to return. So the hashiv, to return. El hayabasha. Incidentally, chapter 25 of the primer, you can find all about the hifil. El hayabasha, to the dry land. That's chapter 4 and 5 of the primer. Taken all together, lahashiv el hayabasha, to return to the dry land. Or to cause to return to the dry land if you really want to be pinpoint accurate. That would be clunky to include in the translation, but this is just one of the things you miss when reading English versus the Hebrew. Okay, so let's look at the next little chunk. And the men paddled to return to the dry land. V'lo yacholu. V'lo yacholu. And they were not able. And they were not able. Okay. That is a pa'al perfect presentation. The root yud chaf lamed means to be able, to be capable. The yacholti, I was able. Yacholnu, we were able. Yacholta, you, masculine singular, were able. Yacholtim, you, masculine plural, were able. Yacholt, you, feminine singular, were able. Yacholtin, you, feminine plural, were able. Yachol, he was able. Yachlu, they were able. And note here, yacholu, different form. We'll talk about that in a second. Yachla, she was able. Yachlu, they were able. Yacholu. Okay, so by way of, I would advise to go look, compare forms of this word. Look at Exodus 7:24. Uses this form, yachlu. And then I would look at the other two instances of this form of the word here in Exodus 8:14. This is convenient because they're so close together. And also 2 Kings 3:26 is an instance of the word in the form yacholu. Okay, all the information can be found in chapter 7 of the first Hebrew primer. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. So we see here that v'lo yacholu. So the vav here can do a lot of things in Hebrew, as I'm sure you're aware at this point. So primarily, vav is either a conjunctive, has a conjunctive use, or it can have some effect on the verb, as in the vav hipuk. There is a less common usage in which it is disjunctive. And in that sense, when it was disjunctive, the vav would not be translated as and, but it might be translated as but or something like that. So a fair translation, I said, and they were not able. Fair translation would be, but they were not able. You just kind of have to feel it as to when this is the case. A good tip-off is typical. What happens when we have the disjunctive is that it's going to kind of make a clause of its own. going to cause a little clause of its own, as opposed to being connected to some other verbs. It's going to create its own little clause. And that's what we have here, and that's what we have in every instance of the form yocholu, is we see there's its own little clause, versus the usage like we see in verse 7:24 of Exodus, in which we see that the clause continues. So Yachlu is when the clause will continue, and Yocholu is when there's some sort of self-contained, it's its own little clause. And in fact, I didn't bring it down here, but let's go back up to the text with the trope, with the cantillation marks, and we'll see here the atnachta. The atnachta, a little wishbone underneath it. Again, that indicates a pause for the reader, something like a comma, for the reader to take a breath, and that is usually would indicate also that this is the end of a clause. So that's how it's used here, and it's how this particular form of the verb yachol is used in every instance in the Hebrew Bible, all three instances. If you want to go, let me go back over there, I'm sorry. The Baal HaTurim, one of the commentators over in Exodus 8:14, uses the fact that this form only appears 3 times in the Hebrew Bible to comment to great effect over there on this verse. So avail yourself of that interesting insight into that verse over there. Okay, I hope I did that one justice. Again, this verb chart, chapter 7, the first Hebrew primer. Okay, v'lo yochlu, and they were not able. End of clause. Okay, let's go ahead further. Next little chunk. V'yachteru ha'anashim, and the men paddle. Lahashiv el hayabasha, to return to the dry land. V'lo yochlu, and they yocholu, and they were not able. And they were not able. Ki hayam, because the sea. Ki, because hayam, the sea. Okay, that can be found. What you need can be found in chapter 9 of the primer. What was the sea doing? Ki hayam holech v'soer alehem. Holech v'soer alehem. You'll note here it has that cholam tsere pattern. Cholam tsere. So this automatically you should get a sense that this is in the participle form. The participle is one of these one of the weird quasi tenses in Hebrew. It can be has noun-like qualities, adjective-like qualities, also verb-like qualities. It's kind of its own little thing here. Ki hayam, because the sea, holech, so the pal participle holech, it's a pal participle. The root is hey lamed chaf, so that would be holech, holchim, holechet, holchot. This would be translated to something as like in going, holech, going, like halach, was going, holech, is going. In context can mean was going also. Here context, that makes sense, was going. But it's going to be going. Okay, that can be found in chapter 18 of the primer. We see it's paired up with another participle, soer. The verb soer, the root samech ein resh, means to stir or to storm, be agitated, something like that. Soer, soarim, soeret, and soarot. Okay, and again that can be found in 18 of the primer. So holech was soer literally means goes and storms, if we want to translate in the present tense, which we might be tempted to. Later on, in my translation, I opted for was going in the storming or something like that. The going and the storming has connotations that it's increasing in its storminess. It's going and it's storming. It's increasing. So you could translate as grows stormier or was growing stormier, something like that. Aleim. Again, this is a preposition al, on or upon, over. Hem, them. Aleim, the mashup. For how these endings work, these prepositional endings, these pronominal endings on prepositions, how that works, check out chapter 16 of the primer. Okay, taken all together, let's go ahead and translate. V'yachtru ha'anashim, and the men paddled. Lahashiv el ha'yabasha, to return to the dry land. And they were not able, because the sea was growing stormier upon them. You could translate was going and was storming upon them. Could translate that way. I think context was growing stormier. I think that does seem to be what is being communicated here. Okay, let's read it in English one more time. And the men paddled to return to dry land, and they were not able because the sea was growing stormier upon them. Okay, I hope that was beneficial. I enjoy making these videos. I hope you enjoy learning with me. Again, that was Sefer Jonah, verse by verse. Chapter 1, verse 13. Kol Tuv, Hatzlacha Rava. Keep learning.